Good morning, it's October 23rd, and this is To My Liberal Friends. When I first went to Washington, D.C. in 1977, I was a neophyte about how the political system worked. But within the first 6 months, I began to realize that underneath all of the politics, committee meetings, floor debates, and constituent meetings, there was something that was always in the background. That topic was money. Money is the mother's milk of politics. It takes money to run a political campaign, and each and every year the amount seems to be growing for what's needed. It does not guarantee that you'll win. Just ask Kamala Harris, who blew through $1 billion in just 107 days. But without money, your chances of losing are increased. The party in power normally has an advantage, and the minority is playing catch-up in the race to accumulate funds for the next campaign. The Democrats are in the minority, and that means they have to play from behind and try to reduce the advantage. But to do so, they have to have some sort of game plan, a platform for change that will resonate with both voters and, more importantly, donors. Right now, the inter-party schism that is within the Democratic Party means that donors are not willing to part with their dollars. The Democrats showed this week they can bring out millions of their followers who all hate Donald Trump. The No Kings rallies around the country are for the most part peaceful, but they also showed the weakness that the Democratic Party has right now. All this demonstration showed was an anti-Trump feeling among their base, but it did not offer any real policy changes, and that's why donors are still on the sidelines. One of the best measuring sticks of money is what the two national parties have in the bank. Right now, the Republican National Committee is winning that battle with the Democratic National Committee. The RNC reporting having outstanding debts of $10.7 million with about $86 million in cash reserves. The DNC had about $10 million in outstanding receipts and only $12 million in cash reserves. That means the RNC is heading into the midterm elections with a significant cash advantage. The gap's a warning sign for Democrats, as many of the donors have major doubts about the party's direction and whether they have a viable plan to win. Now, one of the problems for Democrats is the progressives on the left, AOC and Bernie Sanders. They've been raising a lot of money, but they don't use it for the party as a whole, preferring to keep it for candidates that espouse their far-left policies. A top official at the Democratic National Group has said some donors remain angry about how their money was spent in last year's presidential election by outside groups, including what they see as excessive salaries for DC-based consultants. The official said the party had failed to complete a public post-election investigation into what went wrong in 2024. John Haynes, the finance chair for the Harris campaign, recently said he's struggling to identify the Democratic Party as a whole. Quoting him, "Right now, I'm focused on supporting individual candidates whose values and leadership I believe in." Now, he's the founder of a consulting group, C Street Advisory Group. He also said many donors feel the same way. They want to choose their candidates rather than leave that to party committees. End quote. Now, some of that feeling go back to the Democrats anointing Harris without any real challenge by others. No primary, no looking at other candidates. Her complete failure only buttresses that feeling. Many Democrats I've spoken with find themselves discouraged by some of the issues the party leaders seem to focus on. They view immigration as a losing issue for Democrats and one that Republicans have capitalized last year and still today. The issue of biological men competing against women in sports is another that they view as a losing one. A top official at the Democratic group said some donors remain angry about how their money was spent, and they're going to keep being spent and keep being angry. There's no easy solution at this moment. The Democratic Party is split between what I would refer to as traditional Democrats and the progressive wing of the party. The power struggle is seen most visible in the urban areas where the progressives are most dominant. The New York City mayor's race is emblematic of this split. Zohran Mamdani will more than likely win the race to be the mayor of New York, but his policies are an anathema to those in Middle America, where Democrats have to try to convince voters are not aligned with his politics. That becomes a difficult task as the media highlights these left-wing candidates, and the progressives in the party say they are the future. I think it was all best summed up by Rachel Pritzker, as she's a relative of J.D. Pritzker, the Illinois governor, and she's trying to push the party closer to the center. When talking about donors, she said, quote, "They're worried that the way the party looks and sounds can't really compete and win elections. They're worried that it needs to reorient toward the cultural mainstream and needs to be basically rebranded," end quote. Well, I would say she's right, but at this juncture in time, there's no consensus among Democrats on where they want to be, and that will keep hurting them with millions of voters, and especially with key voting blocks they rely upon. It's been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.